presentation?
Yeah, well, we are all being tested right here, and we all had a fair deal of challenges.
I think in order to do that, you might need to make me some kind of host, or?
You guys are live now.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, so
that's fantastic.
A green button that says share screen.
Hello world.
You have a green button that says share screen, right? So, all right, guys. So here we are, and we're gonna talk about sustainable growth with artificial intelligence. So I present to you Errol Koolmeister and Felix Bonnier from H&M Group. Thank you so much for being here, guys. And please go ahead and share your presentation.
Thank you so much. And thank you all for watching and tuning in the middle of your Friday evening. And thank you for taking the time of participating. We're so much looking forward to all of this. But let's start with introducing ourselves. Felix, maybe you can go to the first slide with our pretty pictures.
Definitely. Why don't you kick it off?
Awesome. My name is Errol Koolmeister. I'm the product area lead engineer for AI Foundation in H&M Group. Basically, that's a very long way of saying I'm responsible for all the AI tech team, so data scientists and machine learning engineers.
Yes, and I'm Felix Bonnier. I'm the corresponding product area manager in this organization in the area of AI Foundation, focusing on supply chain related use cases that can support us in driving better decisions using AI for supply chain. Yes, that's basically us. We have an agenda for today where we split it up into three equal parts, and it looks like this. Where first Errol will kick it off and talk for 10 minutes. No more Errol, I hope, because otherwise all of this breaks. The AI journey at H&M, where we've been and where we are and where we're going, basically. And then we'll talk a bit about this topic of enabling sustainable growth, primarily focusing on our sustainability agenda. And then I will do a deep dive into one of the specific use cases where we leveraged AI capabilities to improve our supply chain for assortment quantification. So that's the idea. Why don't you start, Errol?
Yes, let's kick it off. Fashion is going digital. I don't think that's an understatement. I think all of you participating here today realize that the fashion that we see today, most of the things are going on online. H&M's business model has been physical retail store for a very long time. So what we see today, utilizing AI and data, we see it as an opportunity and a necessity to evolve from our physical retail store into something more digital. We see the opportunity for us as a company to take the lead in here. There are some running in the front, but we can't really see a major fashion player yet has taken a position as a tech leader. You can change the slide, Felix. So we have started a journey with a very high digital agenda, where we see digital as core, where we'll work together as one team in a large product organization, focusing not on IT, but on tech, where we work together, both business and IT, delivering great value to our customers. We know that we need to be more flexible when it comes to delivering new features to our customer, but also maintaining the opportunities within digital. We also know that data and AI is going to be core in all of this. We need to have more deliveries with higher speed. We also know that we need to offer not just great brand experience, but excellent customer experience. We need to be even more focused on our customer, making sure we have a great opportunity for all of you to interact with us in a good way. In addition to do this, we need to attract top-tier digital talent. We know that the best only want to work with the best, and that's why we want to create a great place for people to come and join us as well. In addition, we don't want to spend a lot of money on all of this. We want to spend the money we have smarter. We do know that money can be spent in a lots of different ways. We just want to make sure we put it where it's rightfully belong. You can change the slide. So quick, just going through our AI journey. Around 2015, we realized that the physical retail model that we had with a different store, over 5,000 to date, wasn't really expanding in the same rate that it had done before. So we took an opportunity to start analyzing what are we doing with AI today. The conclusion was not much. We have a great CRM team that's very focused on those activities, but nothing really coordinated. So 2016, we launched some of the first activities within these things. We identified a few use cases, especially focusing on those that could yield very high value fast, realizing in 2017 that this was actually working, cost neutral from the first year. It was so successful, we actually established AI and advanced analytics as a function of its own. Around 2019, we had 7 or 8 use cases running in production, but they were hard to scale and they were hard to maintain. So we realized we need to be even more professional in our efficiencies in industrializing AI. So we launched our reference architecture. How do we deploy and how do we build AI capabilities? How do we make sure that the things that we do are reusable components? So this year, 2020, has been much more about dissecting our large use cases and starting new things, making sure that when we do a forecasting engine, we do it once. We don't do it in 10 different places. And we do believe that this strategy will, in 2021, make it possible for us to take one of the leads within AI in retail in the world. Yes?
Yes. Great. Thank you, Errol. That's on the exciting journey that we've been at, that we are at, and where we're going. And, of course, to tie this in on the topic of the day, in both focusing on growth, but primarily focus on sustainability, I will try to explain a bit about our sustainability agenda. We have always been a growth company. It's been an essential part of H&M always to see how we can improve our customer offer and grow our business. But with growth comes a lot of responsibility, both for our customers and also our colleagues. So all the people that we affect and also the world that we operate in. Therefore, we need to grow in a sustainable way. And it became part of the whole business concept of the H&M brands, fashion and quality at the best price in a sustainable way a couple of years ago. So we need to grow in a sustainable way to make sure that fashion continues to be enjoyed today and for generations to come, of course. And we've set a clear vision for what we want with our sustainability work. And this vision is compiled of 3 big objectives. It is to lead the change towards a circular and climate positive fashion industry while being a fair and equal company across our entire value chain. And in 2019, I just want to highlight that we reached a number of milestones within this area that we're very proud of. We collected more than 29,000 tons of garments for recycling and reuse, which is equivalent to about 145 million t-shirts. Launched new sustainable materials made from pineapple, alga, and citrus, as well as cutting-edge recycled fabric from a company called Renewcell. And we also reached over 1.1 million workers in our production supply chain with industrial relations, workplace dialogue programs, so we could make sure that 900,000 workers benefit from improved wage management systems. All of this, of course, we're super proud of. And in terms of leading the change, one example in these steps is what we're taking in the field of AI. So let's jump a bit into that. So from some of the highlights in this 2019 report, it is stated that we used AI for even more sustainable decision-making across our value chain, from designing for better resource use to improved forecasting of demand. And on that note, which I realized this, of course, went quite fast to explain the sustainability agenda, but I wanted to jump in and have time then to go into about how, in a specific example, have we tried, or not even tried, but succeeded in actually delivering and enabling sustainable growth with one specific supply chain process in one type of solution. So let's jump into this. Assortment quantification. This is the art or the process of knowing how much we should actually globally produce of each garment and have in stock at each point in time. And this is a very challenging task. But the way it is done or has been done is that buyers and buyers assistants in what we call the assortment office at H&M globally needs to quantify and do this. And they do this by choosing usually one reference style or article from previous years. And based on the selling and the stock turnover on this specific reference article, they decide on how much we actually need to order and have in stock at each point in time. And this is done for all markets and all articles globally, as I mentioned. Now you can imagine that this is, of course, a super manual and time-consuming process. We did an estimate before we launched or went into the field of AI and advanced analytics here, and estimated that all our buyers and assistants are actually spending in total over a year 126,000 hours only performing this specific task. And there is also, of course, a risk that it becomes very suboptimal, because when you choose that one reference article from a previous year, let's say I wanted to do this for quantification for 2019, then I usually look at 2018 and how a similar style, color, or article, as we call it, was selling. And there is, of course, a very big risk that I don't select something that was selling very bad last year. So in the end, this also means that there is a risk of over-quantifying. Because this task is very difficult. It is super difficult to estimate how much do I need to have in stock at each point in time to fulfill that specific demand. It's even hard to actually understand how big is the demand from the beginning. And this has led to our stock, or inventory as it's sometimes called, been increasing year over year. And up until 2018, it was on record high level in relation to the actual selling. Right, so we challenged this process and we wanted something better. And that's why in about, I think, 2017-18, we went into the field, the very exciting field of AI and advanced analytics, and tried to make something better. What we did is that we created an algorithm, or it was, of course, a complete AI solution consisting of both logical components, but also the full infrastructure connecting to it, where we forecast demand pre-season, so about 4 to 6 months before it actually hits the stores, of each article and optimize the stock coverage for it. And high level, how this is done is that we still want, I don't know if Errol mentioned this, but obviously in the field of AI, when we're applying it at H&M, we're always talking about amplified intelligence, because we believe that these algorithms and these advanced logics, they need support and input from human beings. And what we've seen is that these buyers and buyers assistants, they're of course expert at creating the best, or trying to create the best assortment in the world. That input we took and actually inserted it together with vast amounts of data, about 4 years of article specific selling on a weekly granular level, in order to estimate the demand for each country globally and for each article. So we get this type of sales curve with a level of sort of prediction accuracy that we felt confident in. And then finally, there is a optimization engine at the end, consisting of lots of both business metrics, but trying to maximize or optimize the stock levels that we need. So that we do not have to buy as much as we did previously, but still sustaining the same selling or even more selling. So the impact of this is an increased sales, which I will show just after this slide in terms of the effect that we're bringing. A higher profitability, because we realized that we could buy much more efficiently and actually decrease our total buying levels. And over the course of this selling, we also decreased the overstock, which of course led to much lower markdown costs in the end, by the end of the season, leaving us with more of the full price selling and a more spot on ratio between demand and supply. So the effect here, even though I can't go too much into the actual figures because they're not official, but I can say that in our comparisons of these articles or styles that were quantified this way, we were close to double-digit sales growth contribution last year. But what I think we should be the most proud of when implementing this AI solution is that we did it with a decreased environmental impact. Because even though we have close to double-digit sales growth on it, we have a double-digit decrease in stock levels. So we did this with a much more optimal setup, where we did not have to produce as much garments as we have historically, which of course you can very easily interpret to that at least that gives a much lower CO2 footprint, with millions of fewer garments produced. And of course, everything that comes to all the logistical supply chain that is needed in order to ship these and produce these garments. I realized we've been running very fast. We're actually done when it comes to these slides of this of this presentation. Errol, is it something that you would like to fill in when it comes to the AI agenda of H&M?
Yeah, of course. I think it's worth pointing out that around 2015, I mean, we used to do things the traditional way. So the case you're bringing up here is extremely relevant because what we started realizing, it's very hard to do forecasting, especially in these times of COVID with online growing rapidly and retail stores are going down. It is hard to predict. And especially if you don't have the numbers to back it up. So what we started seeing in 2015 was that our stock levels were slowly filling up. And from a sustainability perspective, that is really bad. Because not only is it bad for the company because we're not able to sell, so we have a lot of stock in trade. That's just money sitting around for waste and we're trying to sell it. If we produce the right thing to the right customer at the right time, we will optimize our profit. But at the same time, we will make sure that we don't overproduce. And I think overproducing garments in the H&M case is something that's bad for us as a company and everybody in the world because it will just sit around for a very long time. So from our perspective, it goes hand in hand. And what we want to do is make sure we continue democratizing fashion. We want to make sure that you're able to dress in the way. But what we're also looking at is the future. What we do believe is that customers will not just buy new things. It's about increasing the number of transactions of the garments, making sure we can actually redo the garments that we have today so we can even decrease our footprint even more. What do you say, Felix?
I fully agree. No, but this is, and I think we've just started this journey, both of course exploring how AI and advanced analytics can support us in the supply chain context, but also on realizing how much value we think that it can bring in the long run for supporting a sustainability agenda. I mean, these are just some highlights that I pointed out now from this report, where this improved demand forecasting led to a much better, I mean, had an effect on our full sustainability agenda. But I think there is still a lot of things that we sort of just started to explore. There is things within the full production line that could be supported. There is everything that comes with sort of more transparency and how we leverage our data to be able to see how our conditions working and how can we be more efficient in everything from sort of assortment planning to ensuring that we do not have samples flying around all over the world with before we make an actual order decision. So there is lots of things in the entire supply chain context where we can really leverage our data and leverage the capability that comes with advanced analytics and AI.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. I think we've only started to tap the potential of AI at H&M Group. Assortment quantification being one of them, but also, I mean, if you look on all of our different use cases that we have, looking on how we actually allocate, making sure our stores provide more optimal assortment for you when you go and visit them, how we can utilize them as showroom and then ship things home to you instead. I think working at H&M is you really become aware of the sustainability aspect. It is one of the core values that really kind of hits you from day one when you get into H&M. Not only are we trying to optimize the company, we're trying to optimize the world as well. We know we have a big impact and we want to decrease that. But at the same time, we don't want the world to stop. And how can we have the best of two worlds? And those are some of the problems we're trying to solve within AI at H&M.
Yes. I noted, or I don't know in this forum if there were some questions in this in the chat. I know there was an opportunity to do this, but if there is, of course, we're open to see that. But then the question is if there is, if I can see.
Well, I have a question for you, if I may.
You may.
Absolutely.
Yeah, can you hear me? All right. Awesome. Yeah, I'm personally an AI enthusiast. I I was reading a little book introducing the AI topic to me. And it's hard to pose questions regarding to AI without sounding ignorant, but I'll try my best, I promise. So if I remember correctly, AI, using AI, it's a lot about defining the right task for the AI if we want it to go right. The more clear we can define the task and the more, let's say, calculative, mechanical, and mathematical the task it is at hand, usually that's the better the chance the AI would give us a good solution. And the more arbitrary and the problem to solve is, I guess, the less likely the AI is the right solution to that. So, for example, maximizing, let's say, production in a factory, it tends to be a good AI's, let's say, field to apply. So my question would be, what are the potential weaknesses or particular challenges while working with AI in order to enable sustainable growth?
Well, the biggest one, I'll give you a very transparent example. Just take our buying cycles are relatively long, I would say. It's not like they're a week or two, they're several months, up to a year. Doing those type of predictions obviously requires you to have historical data, and then you need to forecast 7 to 8 months into the future. Imagine something happens in that period, I don't know, a pandemic or something. How easy is it for that algorithm that you have actually used historical data with no indication of a pandemic anywhere to be relevant? So it is very hard, which requires you to think not only one time, but 2 times when you design your algorithms. You have to account for the what-if scenarios as well, especially if you want to create a sustainable future. In our way, what we have done is of course very hard to stop a buying cycle once you have initiated it. But what you need to take into account for is the flexibility of the solutions that you are creating. So if you were to create a monolithic system from an AI perspective, very hard to change, data in, data out, no way of changing your processes, then you would need to recreate your system from scratch if something would happen, like a pandemic. I don't know, just took that as a random example. But these days, when we look on creating AI systems, we try to create them as flexible as possible, utilizing best practices from software development to make sure if something would happen, it's very easy for us to go in, adjust the algorithms, in other words, changing the questions to another question, utilizing new data, creating new forecasts. So when you're working with AI, you're right. It's about the question that you ask. In other words, what business problem are you trying to solve? And then how are you solving it? And then putting it as a caveat on the top, how quickly are you to respond to change in the question?
Great. That's great insight. Yes. The ability to reformat, or like the ability to come in and I guess redirect what we're looking for is or having the ability to do that and doing that. It's I guess it's a fundamental piece to the approach when using AI for sustainability.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's about relevance. This happens all the time in systems. For instance, you see data drift. Your underlying data assumptions changes while you're in production. So it's about how good are you at responding to that. So if you are designing an AI system, and if you want to make sure you don't produce a lot of waste, either underproducing or overproducing, but just about right, you have to adopt for those changes, retrain your model, and then redeploy it relatively rapidly.
I think one thing that I wanted to mention, since we're here to both talk about growth, of course, on how we can leverage AI in that support, but primarily also for sustainability purposes. There is a field that of course we're starting to explore, and it's about responsibility in this. When it comes to our full sort of AI agenda has just been started to try to see how we can reach our sustainability goals. But the idea is also that we need to work with AI in a responsible way. what this exactly means is still sort of to be defined and to be explored. But what is also interesting when exploring on how these specific solutions can be put in practice, it can easily grow, and it can easily be something that we feel that we're not losing that type of control, but at least we need to be in the control of how we're actually utilizing these models. So yeah, what do I want to say with this? Well, primarily that it's a field that we're still exploring a lot, and there's lots of things to be done, but there's also comes with a lot of responsibility on how we will actually utilize it going forward. Yes.
Great. Well, it's such a powerful tool, and I guess that's just the way to go. There's a lot that can come with it, and it shall be utilized. However, yes, with great responsibility. That is. Yes. So thank you so much, Errol and Felix. That was a really cool presentation. So I just wanted to say, guys, tomorrow we're going to have also some talks. So please stay tuned in, and don't miss your mentor checkpoints again. So go ahead, go nuts, hack all weekend, and have a great time doing it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.